Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another solo podcast. So I said I'd film this today, and I am doing it, of course. I said I would do these in the past, and I've been a little bit lax, so I'm gonna do it definitely today or now. So when you watch this, I want to try and get back into doing these at least once a week. Like I can definitely dedicate like 45 minutes once a week to this, and that's the only way it's gonna grow if I'm consistent with it. Like I know that, I'm aware of that. So consistency must be put into place when it comes to doing these podcasts, because again, like I said, I want to grow this sort of area of my channel on YouTube. I'm not really trying to grow my YouTube so much, it's not really my goal, but I want to put out information on there to help other people. If I can help other people, that'd be great. Any sort of information that I put out, if one person takes something away, I've done my job basically. So what I'll do, I'll jump into a bit of an update with me first, and then we'll go from there. So recently, guys, it's been a bit of a weird few weeks, actually, to be fair. Hasn't been the best couple of weeks, I'm not gonna lie. So obviously you guys probably follow me on Instagram, people who are watching this. If you haven't, or if you don't follow me on Instagram, you won't know that I was actually it's really weird. I had this really weird like pain on like the back of my glute, which I thought would just go. Like, you know where your like glute inserts into like the hamstring, so like the lower glute area, like the tie-in, people would say. I had this like really bad pain there for a few days, and it just kind of like, you know when you just have something and you're like, okay, this may go, this will probably go, let's just ignore it. That's what I did. I just ignored it, and it kind of didn't go. It kind of got worse and worse and worse. And then it got to like the Sunday last weekend, so not the weekend just gone, the weekend before. I went up to the out of hours doctor basically, and he misdiagnosed it for something that it wasn't, which was bad, because really bad. Don't get me started on the NHS. Fuck me, dreadful. In that regard, on that day, fucking poor, really bad. So that happened. They gave me a misdiagnosis, which it wasn't what they said it was, which was really fucking bad. And then the next day I woke up and I was like, you know what, this is worse. And I actually felt ill that day. Like, this is when I started to have a bit of a temperature, almost like fever-like symptoms. You know when you feel like, you know when you feel ill, like you're a bit kind of hot and cold, sweats, and you just don't feel yourself, and you have to actually lie down all of the time to actually feel somewhat okay. That was what was happening. So I was like, no, this isn't okay. There's something wrong here. So I immediately went up to the A&E, and they said, yeah, you have an infected abscess. And I was like, okay, good one, doctor, who did misdiagnose this the day before. So they gave me antibiotics, which didn't work. To be honest, didn't work. It didn't work at all, because obviously I went in for surgery Thursday. Because if the doctor gave me the antibiotics on the Sunday, maybe I would have missed surgery, perhaps. But that was negligence on the doctor's behalf. Fucking poor. How can you go to like, isn't it like 9 years? Like, you go to university for like 8, 9 years to become a doctor. You can't even diagnose an abscess? Really? Immediately find another job, because that is bad. You can definitely see how people die from shit like that, because if that gets infected, which it did, it can, and it doesn't get treated, it can turn into things like septicemia, which can kill you very fast. That's blood poisoning. So very bad. You can definitely see how people, go into hospital with something that's relatively treatable, and then they die because poor negligence on their behalf, which is just bad. So that happened. Obviously, it went up to A&E 3 times before I got fucking surgery. The pain was, oh my god, bad. Like, I can tolerate pain, to be fair. Like, I've got a really good pain threshold. Like, I'm not really that phased by uncomfortable things, but I couldn't deal with that pain. I could not deal with it. It was just out of this world. Like, it was so bad. Like, the pressure and the pain when I moved was just off the charts bad. So I went in for surgery early Thursday, and what they did, this is really kind of like not very nice to listen to, but I'll tell you anyway, because fuck it, why not? They basically drained the abscess. So immediately the pain, when I came around, the pain was gone, which was amazing. And now I'm in no pain at all. But the actual pain from the operation, oh my god, oh my God, when I came round from the anaesthetic, fuck me, I was begging them to inject more morphine into me because I was so much pain. Like it makes me even squeam a little bit now that the pain was so bad, like so bad. And also the anaesthetist guy fucked up, put me to sleep. But so really poor experience, to be honest with you. The whole thing was dreadful. They went to put me under. So they inject a cannula. I think it's called a cannula into your wrist. They did it on this hand. The guy missed my vein. He was, oh, sorry, mate, missed your vein. I was like, oh, okay, no problem. Just to put it in the other hand then. That's cool. Don't worry about that. You just made me bleed, and that actually hurt as well. So he put it in this hand. Gave me some anaesthetic. Just didn't do anything. So they had to just keep giving it to me until I fell asleep. So they had to give me more and more. So then when I woke up, the pain was real, like real pain. I can't even describe it. Is there anything I can describe it? Not really. It's hard to describe unless you've had it. It's really bad, really bad. So then obviously I was in hospital and they gave me hella morphine to take away the pain, and I was out Thursday, and then I was arrested Thursday. I felt just dreadful all day really, because obviously the anaesthetic makes you feel poor, piss poor. I came home, went to bed, and the whole weekend I was still running my business. I was still doing check-ins. I didn't stop doing work, which a lot of people were like, just don't work. But for me, I can't not work. I don't want to get behind. I don't want people waiting for feedback. I can't deal with that in my brain. It stresses me out too much. So obviously that happened. And then I was back in the gym Saturday for like a pump session, which went fine. And then I've pretty much been back to normal as of Monday in regards to training. My nutrition over that last week was dreadful. I'll be first to admit that. But when you're in a load of pain and you're uncomfortable, the last thing you want to do is hit your macros and make sure you're hydrated, because you just don't care. Because the only thing you care about is not being in pain, realistically. So that was that. But back into it this week. I feel great. I weighed in this morning at I'm about 185 pounds, which again it's actually unchanged for like a few weeks. But the condition that I'm in for 185 pounds is actually quite surprising for me. It's actually quite shocking because I actually don't look bad at all. I've obviously got a mirror there, and I look at myself when I got out of the shower this morning. I was like, I actually look alright. I actually look okay. Like you can still, I don't actually look that bad. You can still see my abs. When I hit like a side relax, you can still see my waist. Still see a bit of quad detail. So I'm really happy actually with the look and the physique and my body weight, because I'm actually like closing in an all-time body weight, peak body weight, but nowhere near as fat as I've been in the past, which is amazing, which means tissue growth. So I'm excited to see how the rest of the off-season goes. Just getting back into training now. This week's been okay in regards to training. I've hit some good lifts. I haven't like progressed everything like I would usually, because obviously variables have been off, but that's to be expected when you've been ill. But I kind of took last week as a deload, so I actually didn't train all week, so that was my deload done, which is pretty cool. So I haven't got to do that now for another 8 weeks at least, hopefully, and then just get back into training this week, and then getting ready for hopefully another 6 months of pretty solid gaining. I'd like to see a 200 pound weigh-in before the end of the year, and I want to see it okay. I want to look okay. I want to look at it and be like, yeah, cool, we actually look like a bodybuilder still, we're not just fat. I want to be able to see my abs at 200 pounds, not like shredded obviously, but just be able to see them. And I want to be able to just see detail in areas that is okay, and it's not like, oh shit, you're really fat, Jack. It's like, sure, you're not lean, but to the general eye, you're not fat. So that's what I want to. That's what I want to see, and I'm really pretty sure I'll get there. To be honest, it's like a stone off over 6 months. I can definitely do that. I am going to have to push my food up to whole new levels, I believe, in order to get that weight on, because I'm on a lot of food at the moment, and weight's not really sticking to me. So it is what it is, really, in regards to food. I have kind of reverted a little bit away from the super high carb, because I just can't do it. I just can't eat the food. I just can't eat the volume of food. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I just can't do like eight bagels and with loads of jam. I just can't stomach it. I just can't. I'd rather potentially gain a bit more body fat and actually be able to hit my calories and eat a bit more dietary fat. As we know, dietary fat's going to be is the most likely macro to be stored as body fat, but I'm willing to take a bit more body fat and to get the weight on rather than try to minimize a bit more body fat and try to just stick to a high carb massing phase, because realistically my adherence to that is going to go down the drain, because I just can't do it physically. There's only so far you can do it, especially when you're not actually hungry anyway. So essentially what you're doing is force feeding all day. It's kind of not that fun, you know. You can do that for a bit, but then if you do it for 6 months, it's not that fun, is it? To me, it's really not that fun. It's pretty uncomfortable. So I don't really want to do that. I'd rather just eat more dietary fat. Very easy to eat, like dark chocolate, you know, almond butter, stuff like that. So simple. Like if I add 40 grams of almond butter to my last meal, like it's like 27 grams of fat. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong, but it depends what almond butter you have, of course. But yeah, like that's my thought processes behind where I'm at in regards to like my physique and training. I'm happy with everything's at. I'm happy with my programming, happy with my mental state, coaching myself, obviously. I absolutely feel confident doing so, more confident than I've ever felt. Yeah, just really happy just with my decision-making processes, with myself and with clients. I'm happy with where business is at. Business is at in a place at the moment which is amazing. And obviously launched my website, which is up. The athletes logs and the ability to post on forums is going to be done imminently. That was supposed to be done last week. Obviously I couldn't do that last week because things were just not in my control. So that had to be put on hold because that was not priority. Priority was getting better, obviously. So that's a little bit of an update on me. We've got a lot of things coming up, a lot of exciting stuff coming up like loads of shows. I've got Henry's show in like 15 days, which I need to book tickets for. Shit, I haven't done that. I'll do that today, Jesus. And then we've got obviously more shows, loads more shows. I've got like 11 more people on stage this year, which is great. I've already got a full team, can you believe it or not, for 2020. I don't want to take on as many clients for prep next year as I have done this year. Rationale behind that is I'm competing, and I don't realistically feel like I could take on that many people that I'm doing this year. Because obviously, like if you're prepping, it's a massive stress on me. So I don't think that prepping myself and 20 people is smart. I think that's dumb and just fucking cocky and trying to do too much. But obviously I'm not prepping this year, so my stress when it comes to that kind of stuff is low. So I can definitely obviously prep more clients. It's fine because I'm not stressed about my own physique. But I'm definitely competing next year, like no doubt. Do I feel like I'm going to win everything? Probably not. Do I feel like I can win a show? 100%. Will I win a show? 100%. Do I think I could place top 7 at a British final? 100%. And that's my goal. That's my goal. That's a realistic goal, and I know I can do that. Now, sitting here and saying I'm going to win the British final next year is unrealistic, and it's stupid, to be honest. If I can win my qualifiers, and if I can place top 5, top 6, top 7 at a British final level in my second ever year of competing, I will be absolutely buzzing with that. And those goals, in my opinion, I think I can do. I don't think they're out of my reach. 100%. I think I can definitely do that because I know I've improved, and I know I've still got another 7 months of gaining, and I will be the strongest I've ever been, and I will be the heaviest I've ever been, which absolutely will lead to more muscle mass. So that's my plan. I'll probably start prepping about Feb, I believe. And then I may do a tidy up phase before I start prep, but I may not, depending on how I look. I may just do a straight prep. I don't want to lose any more than 35 pounds to get into condition. So I may have to do a tidy up, but we'll see. I don't mind doing 35. 35 is a lot still, but I don't mind doing it. I don't want to do 45 pound prep again. That was ridiculous, and that was why I faded. I want to make sure everything's structured nicely. But of course, I'll be in complete control of this. I'm going to prep myself for my show. Why? People may think, like, why don't you just get a coach, Jack? Good question. The rationale behind not getting a coach is because I just want to be in control of my nutrition and my training completely. I just don't want anyone else telling me what to do. I don't want anyone else telling me what to do. I don't care who they are. I just don't want it. I don't want anyone else telling me what to do, because if someone makes a change, for example, and I'm like, I'm not too sure about that, and that's what I think, and then I go with that change and it doesn't work, I will be pissed, and I will be fucking pissed, and I will blame that coach, to be honest. So if I make a mistake myself, I can't blame anyone but myself, which is fine. I don't want to have to blame someone, because you're more than likely going to make a mistake in a prep or a longer prep. You're going to make 1 or 2 mistakes. It's going to happen, right? With something, you know, where you may not take a deload in time, you may not reduce food in time, you may refeed, but you don't need to refeed. I don't want to have to tell someone that you did that and I'm not fucking happy with it, because that wouldn't end well. I actually don't think that would be healthy. I think I would just leave immediately if that happened. So I think let's just not even allow that to happen, because I am very stubborn when it comes to my own physique and my training and my nutrition. I know exactly what to fucking do to get into condition, as I proved, and I know what I'll need to do next year, and that will be to get absolutely shredded again, but I'll have more muscle, so I'll look even leaner, and I'll have to get my glutes dug out, which to me, it's not hard. I know what to do. I know it's hard. I know how it feels to diet. My adherence is 10 out of 10. My consistency is spot on. You won't see you won't meet many other people who are as consistent as me with their training and nutrition. Sorry, you won't. I may not be genetically the best bodybuilder, but I'm fucking consistent. You know, how often do you see me not on the money with everything? Never, really. I hit my macros every day. I train every day when I'm due to train, and I live this. I don't go out. I don't drink. I don't take drugs. I live this bodybuilding lifestyle. So, you know, there's not many people out there who are doing what I'm doing every day. I'm sorry, there's not. There's people who are better bodybuilders than me, who are genetically better than me, for sure. But I'm one of the most consistent people out there, and I know that. And that's just through hard work, essentially. So that's the goal, and I'm very excited for that, for sure. It's going to be a fun year. I can't wait to get shredded again. I can't wait to feel like shit again every day and wake up and feel like you're going to die when you get up out of bed. But for some reason, I'm excited to feel like shit again. I'm excited to get up. I'm excited to pose. I'm excited to get on the Stairmaster in a fasted state, feeling like shit. And then writing an Instagram post on the Stairmaster about how shit I feel. Basically, I'm excited to have no sex drive, and I'm excited to be food focused towards the end of the prep. But that's pretty much an update with me for the last week. And yeah, I hope that all makes sense. Obviously, if you have any questions in regards to my own kind of like journey or training, please do ask. And yeah, we'll go from there. I'm going to jump straight into the questions. So that was 17 minutes. Fuck me, that was a long time. So if you don't want to watch that, immediately skip, basically. But that wouldn't make any sense because you've already watched it. So I'm going to jump straight into the questions. I'm going to open the mobile device, and then I'm going to jump straight in. So I'm going to start off with a question from my client, Jenny. So, post-show, would you look to increase protein for satiety or raise as body weight goes up? Good question. So, this is a good question. So I'm going to timestamp this 1 second, guys. So, would you increase the protein for satiety or raise body weight goes up? So, it's a good question. I would definitely post-show for someone, depending on how hungry they are, would be definitely to increase their protein intake, because obviously it provides a lot more satiety. It's the most satiating macro, and it's the least likely macro to be stored as body fat. So for sure, I'd raise protein. Like when I came out of a prep last year, I went up to 250 grams, which was like 100 grams more a day, and I was immediately less hungry. Same with Sean, I took his protein up immediately. Same with Ismail, protein up immediately. Same with Clive, same with Michael, and what that does is it just stops you feeling so fucking hungry, and it just mitigates the potential for you to binge. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that, to be fair, post-show. I think it's a smart idea, because obviously the opportunity and the possibility for you to overeat is high, and there's no shame of you if you do that. It's pretty fucking common to do that. But if you can control that a little bit more by increasing your protein, I think absolutely do it. That makes most sense to me, for sure. You know, even if you take it up by 50 grams, that'd be 200 calories, but that 50 grams will make you feel a lot fuller, for sure, as in stomach fuller, not physique. So yeah, I would look to take protein up. I mean, as body weight goes up as well, I think you take it up and it would just sit where it's at. I wouldn't look to continue adding protein in. Take up by a decent amount that provides you with a good amount of satiety. And like we said, puts you in a good position so you adhere to your new calories. The whole, the fundamentals of everything that we do is a matter. It's always going to be down to adherence. Like how well can we adhere to the goal and the plan? If we can't adhere, we're not going to get to where we want to get to. If you can't adhere to your diet post-show, you're going to get fat quick. Trust me. So I've seen it happen. To be fair, I was pretty fucking controlled post-show, but I've seen it happen a lot. I see people who come off stage, they're 40 pounds up in 2 weeks. Off-season's over. Immediately mini-cut. That's really bad for you, I tell you that. For your mindset and your physique, you're going down shit's creek if that happens. So I'd look to control that phase, and bringing up protein can definitely help do that for sure. So I think that's definitely a smart move, and that was a good question as well. Very good question as always. So moving on. So another question. So how long does it generally take to get out of a prep mindset? So again, good question. I would say this is very, 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 very individual dependent. Now, I'm going to talk from experience with myself and clients that I've coached through the process, okay? It took me a long time. It took me a long ass time to feel normal. Really did. Like, I remember even around Christmas time, I wasn't feeling normal. I remember in regards to everything, food focus, like it took so long until I just wanted to train and not think about my post-workout meal. I remember getting to the gym and you'd be like, oh my God, I just want to eat. And it's so fucking horrible. That phase is not fucking good. It's the worst phase in bodybuilding. Worst. But I believe that it gets better the more preps you do, but I still think it's a fucking bitch to have to deal with. I would say this depends though on the individual, of course. It's hard for me to give you like a categorical answer. But the prep mindset stays with you for a while. The idea of having to get up and move a lot and having to stick to the same foods every day because you don't want to disrupt digestion. Always thinking about where can I burn more calories, or I have to go out and move as soon as I've eaten. All of this kind of stuff becomes quite disruptive to the goal, for sure. I think it takes a while. I think 6 months. At least 6 months. At least 6 months, yeah. And I don't think there's anything anywhere around that really, regardless of how optimal something is or how well you come out of a prep. You've still created these habits that almost ingrain themselves into you for so long that they just don't go anywhere. Unfortunately, they just stick around until you gain a good amount of body fat back, and you almost create a new routine. That's what you want. That's the key. Is new routine, new consistency, because you need to almost let go of the prep routine, which is going out and going for a walk in the morning or doing your cardio. Stuff like that is amazing when you're prepping, but when the goal is changed to, obviously we're not prepping anymore, that needs to stop, and it's fucking hard to stop that. Like I would still go out for walks and post-workout I still walk on the treadmill, like, because it was just crazy routine and habit, and it was just, you always, because your mindset is so switched on condition and burning calories, it takes a while to come out of that phase. It really does. But you will come out. You will, providing that you do things properly. You will absolutely be fine. Yeah, you'll be fine. And the thing is as well, having a coach in this phase, probably the best thing you can actually have. Now, this is where, again, I may go wrong slightly, but I'd rather just it be in my own hands when it comes to my training and my prep. But you who asked the question, you're my client, so I'll make sure that you do everything perfectly post-show. And you know who you are. You're one of the most consistent fuckers I've ever met in my life, and that's why you're in a position that you're in, because you're so consistent every day, every fucking day. You're relentless. You're like me, so you'll be fine post show. It was hard, but again, you'll have the support from me, and that's where you actually need your coach more. Actually, you see a lot of people sacking their coach off post show, and I'm like, do you not realise that that's probably harder than prep? Seriously, like I've handled loads of people's post shows, and everyone I've coached this year to compete are all still with me now, and they're in better positions, fucking 6 to 8 weeks post show now because they've still kept with their coach. Like, don't sack your coach off post show because you need them post show. That's where you need the support. It's easy to just to grind away and get in shape. That's quite simple. Seriously, it is. It really is black and white. You know, you're in a mindset where let's just get this shit done. We're motivated. We've got the end goal of the stage. When that's taken away, your mind is like, what the fuck am I doing now? You need the accountability of someone. You need someone there with you, just making sure you're okay. It's fucking important. And this is why so many people get fat and blow up post shows, because they think, right, well, I'm going to sack my coach off now. I'm going to eat all the food, and now I don't give a shit about anything. That's going to see you gain, like I said, up to 40 pounds, which I saw the other day. I saw, and that's at no discredit to you. You just need to stay with your coach. And I don't think that would happen if you had the accountability of someone as well. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you've developed like a relationship with that individual, you're more than likely going to be more consistent because you don't want to let them down as well. So you have two kind of like ways to look at it. So hope that makes sense. It takes a while though. Prep mindset is a bit of a bitch. It takes a while. But again, it is what it is. There's nothing we can really do about that. We just need to embrace the phase. And just accept that it's going to be a bit of a shit phase, basically. And it is. It's not the best phase. But if you're consistent, you'll be on the money fine. Okay? So, another question. So I'm going to answer this. This is Holly's question. I've actually just watched a video on this, so I don't really know too much about it, to be fair. But I'm going to answer it anyway. So, 1 second. Let me just make sure I timestamp this correctly before people message me saying it wasn't time-stamped correctly. And I'll be like, oh, really sorry. So, this is the thoughts on Eric Helms' 5-day full body training during contest prep. So, the idea behind that, from the video that I just watched, now I may not be black and white corrected because I haven't really read into it like properly. I've just watched the 15-minute YouTube video before I did the video because I wanted to do the video and get it done and get it out. Is the fact that, you know, volume stays high throughout a prep, and Eric Helms's perspective here is, obviously Eric Helms is a fucking smart guy. He's part of the 3DMJ crew, I believe. I don't really follow them that much, but I believe he's part of them. He's very smart, obviously. Very evidence-based, which is amazing. So, question on it is that if you're continuously driving up, now again, this may not be correct because I haven't watched the whole thing, but if you're keeping volume high in a dieting phase, you're more likely going to hold on to tissue through full body sessions because obviously frequency is high. But my thought process behind that is, I mean, full body sessions 5 days a week. What the fuck are you going to do about your recovery? There's no way on earth you're going to be able to manage recovery as you get leaner doing full body sessions 5 days a week. No way. That's my opinion on it. I can't imagine how one could do that. I just can't. Like, how? If you're training, like, obviously Holly asked this, and I coach Holly, and Holly trains fucking hard. Now if I was to Holly, I would have to drop Holly's volume. So if I tell her to go and do 5 days a week in the gym, 5 days in a week in the gym training, number one, she wouldn't stick to it anyway because she wouldn't be able to train how she wants to train, which is 0 RIR, reps in reserve. So she wouldn't be able to stick to that anyway. So I believe that program or that kind of split may look really fantastic and sexy on paper, but is that really going to be optimal for one who's training pretty fucking hard? Because I actually don't really know how Eric Helm trains. So I don't follow him really, but I know he's a smart guy, but I don't really follow him. So if he was training with pretty much 0 RIR, and he was taking every set to fail, as Holly is, not every set, but some sets, are you really going to be able to do 5 full body days a week? Now, I know Holly's not going to be able to do that. So that kind of concept is very dependent on the individual and how they train. It could be very good for someone who can't really train that hard and doesn't really want to train that hard. Sure. For sure, I can definitely see the positives from that kind of outlook, because obviously you're able to train things at high frequency, you're able to keep volume high, but the intensity has to be pretty mediocre and you can't be taking sets to fail. So again, this is very dependent on the person and how they want to train. It's very dependent on adherence again. It comes down to adherence and what one enjoys. So my thoughts, my general thoughts are, I haven't really looked into it that much to be honest with you, but my general thoughts are, if you can train pretty fucking hard and that's how you like training, absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you don't really want to train that hard in that kind of sense to fail, I'm not saying that RIR people don't train, or that kind of, those people who train with the RIR concept, I'm not saying they don't train hard. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, for someone like myself who goes in and wants to progress my lifts with load generally, I don't think that it would be great for someone like me. But for someone who's just getting into the gym and they've started their first ever contest prep, and potentially they don't really know what's there and what's not there in the gym, so it would make more sense for them to potentially try and follow that kind of 5-day-a-week split, which would be obviously higher medium volume, high frequency. Would make more sense for one of those kind of individuals for sure. But if someone's, again, likes training like you do, Holly, which is really fucking hard, not going to happen, is it? Because I just had to drop Holly's volume, guys, because she couldn't recover. So again, it's dependent on the individual and how hard they train and how hard they want to train, And just to cover as well, just to say, if I get anyone message me about this, like RIR versus training to fail, so many debates about this on everywhere. Now, number one, both work, yeah? So if someone is slagging RIR off, you're a fucking moron, basically, because you're uneducated and stupid. If you slag off training to fail, again, you're fucking stupid because you're uneducated. Both work. Now, what do we need to do to grow? We need to increase our volume over time, right? Both do that, basically. Volume is the biggest driver for hypertrophy. So if you're driving volume up, which is what you are doing when you're training to fail and using the RIR concept, you're gonna be growing regardless, because you just are. You're going to be growing because you're still progressively overloading, which is the key. Which is key. You have to be overloading progressively, and you are doing that on RIR. You're adding sets, and you're training to a closer proximity to fail every week. And when you train to fail, obviously you're adding load, and you're training to failure most sessions. So, providing that you can do both safely and you can adhere to one or the other, you're going to be growing. It just comes down to what you enjoy more, I think, and what you want to do, and how emotionally attached one is to their training. For sure, I think it's very different for everyone. Now, both work, absolutely. There's research behind it. Both work. I personally just don't like that kind of training. For me, and for you, Holly, as well, because you'll probably watch this, fucking boring. I don't want to do that. And I would never want to do that. And if someone said you have to do that, I would rather not train, to be honest. Because I get up in the morning before I go to the gym, and if I've got hack squats, I will fucking obsess about that hack squat. I will obsess about it. Like I did the other day, I did 121.25 kilos a side. I was fucking obsessed with that from the minute I woke up. If you were to tell me to go in and leave 4 reps in the tank, I'd be like, fuck you, I'm not going to the gym, basically. Because that means, to me, that's just fucking boring. And I don't enjoy that. Okay? I do have clients as well that I know don't really have the ability to train like I do, and I would program more of an RIR concept for them, because they don't really understand, nor do they have the ability to take it all the way there safely. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? So again, it's very individual dependent, and it's based off adherence, what you enjoy doing, how emotionally attached you are to your training. I'm a very emotional based person when it comes to training. Like get very attached to my training. I'm a bit of a fucking psycho in the gym, to be honest. And I know that, and I'm willing to risk that sometimes, I know some of the stuff that I do in the gym isn't the safest. I'm aware of that, but I'd rather fucking risk it because I enjoy that, I enjoy that. That's fun for me. That's where I get my buzz. I don't go out. I don't do drugs and all this kind of shit. That's where I get that adrenaline rush. That's how I love training. I absolutely adore that kind of training. Those kind of sets are just unbelievable. I get so fucking pumped for them, and I just love it. And it also, like, when I look at the best physiques around, this is very anecdotal, which I'm very aware of, which I do think plays some relevance in this whole industry, to be honest, because people think, oh, because you think so, that's not right. Well, why? If it works for people, it fucking does. Like, look at the best bodybuilders around. Look at the biggest people. They're usually fucking strong, and they usually train like absolute animals. Now, of course, genetics come into play for sure, but if you look at the biggest fuckers in the world, like let's take Jordan Peters for an example. Have you seen how big that guy is? Have you seen how hard he trains? Do you not think that kind of correlates over a little bit, cross transfers to his training, to his physique? I don't know anyone bigger than him. He's probably the biggest guy at 5'6" in the fucking world, isn't he? When it comes to bodybuilding, there's no one else like that. Look how hard he trains. That's going to cause some crazy adaptation. Sure, you run the risk of getting injured, absolutely. I'm gone off a bit of a tangent here, but I think this would be somewhat beneficial. There is definitely elements to that kind of style that is risky for sure, but I think when I look around, the biggest and the strongest train like animals. For example, let me just use a case study here. Let's take AJ, my best friend AJ. Look at his physique. Look how hard he trains. Look at his back. Look how strong his back is. Does that not speak volumes though? Does it not? Surely it does. Look at Kai Green's density. Do you know how strong that fucker is? I was watching a video the other day of him incline pressing 5.5 plates. Do you not think that crosses over? Do you not think if you can incline press 4 plates, you're going to have a pretty big chest? Or if you can dumbbell press 72.5s, you're going to have some muscle there. If you can deadlift, like, look at his back. Look at AJ's back. He did like an RDL for 210. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, that's ridiculous. Look at his back, though. Reflects, isn't it? It reflects. Like, you can go back and forth all day about the science and the literature, but look at these people. Look what they're doing. Do you not think that works? Obviously, I understand everyone's ability to contract tissue is different, and the genetics come massively into that. But if you focus on getting fucking strong, and you eat enough, and you're consistent, you keep your form standardized, you're gonna be fucking growing. Guarantee you. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, that's a long-winded question, but it's kind of, yeah, I was about 9 minutes now. Anyway, so moving on to another question. I've got quite a few, so this may be quite a long podcast, but oh well, fuck it. You guys can enjoy it. So, a question from Muscle Monster Hull. What body fat percentage would you say is too low to start pushing up? Say is too low and to start pushing up. So, let me timestamp that. Now, too low for what? You know, there does need to be some clarity behind that. I would say being able to start a gaining phase in a lean position makes more sense, to be honest. If you're starting really fat, you're not going to have as far to go and as far to push up in regards to your body weight, are you? Because you're going to just get fat again pretty quick. So my advice in this position would be, again, depending on how you look, maybe do a bit of a mini cut. If you feel like you are a bit chubby, pull back, take off 20 pounds if you can, 15 to 20 pounds in about 5 weeks if you can work your ass off. Then you'll be in a better position to gain from, and then obviously you have further to push up. So basically what you're doing there is you're creating more room to grow, you know, because if you push up from already a fat percentage, you're only going to get fatter. If you start, you know, an off season at 160 pounds, you can go all the way up to 200 potentially, and you can still look okay. If you start an off season at 190 and you're already pretty fat, where are you going to go? You know, you're probably going to have to diet pretty quick. So it makes the most sense to start a gaining phase in a lean position. But don't misconstrue what I'm saying here and think, oh, I need to be shredded before I start a gaining phase. It's not true. Just make sure that you're not fat, you know, and you're probably not fat. Unless you know, if you can see your physique, you're not fat, okay? You're not spilled, you're not really, really bloated or fat. You're okay. Just get gaining, man. Just get gaining, providing, like I said, you're not crazy fat, which I doubt you are. Just get just eat your food and train hard. That's all you need to do. And then that should help, man. That you'll grow if you do that consistently. Like, there's no secrets. You'll fucking grow. I promise you. So I hope that makes sense. Don't, by the way, just to say, don't get shredded and then gain. You don't need to do that. Just, if you're in an okay position, body composition wise, just increase your calories, just start eating. Do that for 6 months, gain 15 pounds, 20 pounds. You will have grown a lot, providing that you've added 20 kilos to all of your lifts in the gym. So you're gonna be bigger. I can promise you that. If you're not, I'll jump off my balcony out there, because I know you will be, because you just will be. That's basic logic, really. So moving on to another question. Oh, the iPhone vibrated there. So, do you have issues with clients, e.g. cheating on diet, not follow your instructions? So this is a good questions. So do I have problems with clients? Not really, actually, not really, no, because most people that I work with are really, really consistent, and their adherence is 10 out of 10. So I don't generally, no, I don't really. I haven't ever really had any issues like that with the clients that I coach, because everyone I work with is really motivated like me. You know, they're motivated like I'm motivated. I have to be motivated about the bodybuilding industry and the fitness industry and the coaching industry to be sitting here doing an hour podcast out of my own time. If I didn't like doing this, I wouldn't fucking do it. If I didn't love this job, I wouldn't do it. So most people that I work with are super duper consistent, and adherence is not an issue, to be honest with you. So I think it's absolutely fine to accept that some people may, if you're coaching people who potentially aren't that obsessed with the end goal. But if you're coaching a good group of guys and girls who are really motivated about achieving their goals, I'm pretty sure that you'll be okay when it comes to your clients sort of adhering to their nutrition protocols, getting their training done, and obviously doing their cardio and steps. Okay, dudes, I hope that makes sense. There's no need to waffle on about that anymore. Right, let's do a few more. Okay. Right, let's do that one. Okay, it's a good question, actually, this. So, where to place an RDL and a training split? This is a fucking phenomenal question. I love this kind of question. Let's answer it. So, RDL, where to place it? I think an RDL should be put in on a pull day, to be honest with you. Now, rationale behind that is if you're starting a leg day with an RDL, I think it's going to absolutely ruin the remainder of your session, because the movement is so fucking taxing. If you do it properly, so taxing, it's going to create a huge like a recovery demand, right? It's going to create some systemic fatigue, because obviously the loading on an RDL is most likely going to be pretty fucking high, and you're going to be working very, very close to muscular fail. So I think on a pull day makes the most sense. And that could be your lower back loader for that session. I wouldn't have it on a leg day. I like a dumbbell stiff leg deadlift on a leg day, but I like that further down the week and maybe like 5th or 6th movement in, because again, you don't have to load as much. So if you're continuously loading like crazy on every exercise, you're going to run into potential injury issues, and a lot of fatigue. So you've got to think about where you're placing it and what impacts that has on your next few sessions, right? Now, for example, for me, I can only really execute 2 sets of a lower back loader on my pull day because I've got legs the next day. So you would just need to manage your training volume if you're going to put it around your leg training. Now, if I was doing like a back squat, if I was back squatting, I probably wouldn't RDL on the Monday, because that's going to create some element of fatigue in your low back. It just is. And you may find that could cross over massively to your squats. For me, I don't do any squats in regards to like back squats. So I just do hack squatting and Smith squatting. And as we know, a hack squat, your lower back supported. Sure, it's still going to load the lower back, obviously, but it's not going to be to the same degree at which a barbell back squat would, because obviously you're locked in on a hack, which means, like I said, your lower back supported and you're locked into a movement. So if you fail or fuck up a rep, it's not the end of the world. If you fuck up a back squat when you're trying to load after doing an RDL day before, you may run into some issues. You may pin it. You may misgroove a rep because your lower back's a bit tight. You may get injured. So you just need to put it into your program and plan your other sessions around the RDL. I think the RDL craze at the moment is huge, and I think it's a fantastic movement. For me, I prefer a Dorian deadlift. It feels better. I'm able to stay tighter. Don't know why. I'm just not that strong on those kind of movements. We never have been, and it shows in my physique, right? So I think place it around your leg sessions very wisely and look to see what kind of leg sessions you're doing if you are going to place an RDL kind of around it, if that makes sense. But I'd look to do it on a pull day, and I'd look to use it as a loader, so a lower back loader, Would I look to internally connect perfectly on an RDL? No, I wouldn't. I'd look to just load it and go as heavy as I fucking can and control every rep. I wouldn't try to perfectly shift my hips back, perfectly get a perfect stretch, pause, initiation. I would just look to, as long as I'm controlling the eccentric and I'm making sure that I'm staying tight, I would look to just load it and get as crazy strong and basically move as much weight with pretty much perfect form. That's what I would do. I would look to maybe like a dumbbell stiff leg. I would look to potentially almost program that in a higher rep range and look to get a better internal stimulus on like a dumbbell stiff leg. And on that kind of movement, I would look to perfectly shift my hips back, stretching the bottom, making sure that I'm initiating with a contraction of my hamstrings and then driving my hips forward to squeeze my glutes at the top, for sure. But again, it's very, very, very individual dependent and based on how well you can recover from a movement like an RDL. So I'd put it on a pull day and then just see how you get on with that, pretty much, dude. I've got another question in regards to RDL as well, which I will answer. So this can be the same kind of question because it just makes the most sense. So opinion on RDL and snatch grip deadlift for bodybuilding over conventional. Now, opinion on an RDL versus a snatch grip deadlift. This is all the whole RDL craze because obviously Jordan Peters started doing an RDL. Everyone loves Jordan. I do as well. He's an absolute role model for me when it comes to training and just everything. But what you need to do, mate, for you who asked this kind of question, is you need to just do both and you need to see what you feel better doing. You need to execute one or the other. For me, I'm no good at deadlifting and I can't stay tight. But I generate more power from the floor and I can move like 200 kilos in a deadlift, but it does nothing for my back. So, I would try both and see how you get on and what you feel better. I think a snatch grip RDL will definitely fire the upper back more. Obviously, if you think about the positioning, if you're going wider and you're having to keep your chest up, your upper back is already retracted, so that's all going to fire up. And if you brace fucking hard against the bar like there, your upper back is going to be toast in comparison to a standard RDL. I think you'd probably be able to load more on a normal RDL just because of the position. Mechanically, it may be more favourable to load. But if you want to get potentially better upper back development, a snatch grip RDL will be better. But unless you're, Jordan Peters' size, I would just look to do a standard RDL and just get that up to 180 kilos and, 200 kilos. Until you can do that, I wouldn't even bother doing a snatch grip, to be honest. That's my thoughts on that, mate. Okay, hope that makes sense. So one more question, and then I'm going to wrap this up because it's a long podcast. I wasn't expecting it to be this long, but I've had loads of questions, more than I thought, which is cool. So if you're not competing and not fat, not skinny, would you cut or bulk? Absolutely start gaining, to be honest with you, mate. I wouldn't even waste time trying to diet if you're skinny and not fat. You need to spend as much time in a calorie surplus as you can. You want to spend as minimal time in a dieting phase as possible if you want to actually grow, especially as a younger guy. Like, I know who you are, dude. I know you're young. I know you're like 20 years old. You need to spend time gaining weight. Now, there are occasions, of course, where I'd look to diet for sure, but you, absolutely not, because you're not fat. Now, I get the whole social media thing and the whole presence of looking good for Instagram. Trust me, I understand. I've been there before, but if you really want to grow, you absolutely need to invest in yourself. You need to spend at least 6 months in a calorie surplus. You need to gain weight, depending on the person and how much weight you can gain, but you need to gain at least 15 pounds if you're a male. I think for a female, over a 6-month period, if you gain 6 pounds, that'd be fucking spot on. 6-7 pounds, depending where your stage rate was at and how lean you were and how lean you got. But you need to spend the most amount of time gaining weight, okay? Abs are easy to get. I could diet now and get shredded in 12 weeks. Not shredded, but pretty ripped on the beach. But what's the point? If we want to actually progress and we want to be a better bodybuilder when we next actually get on stage, we need to spend time in a calorie surplus. End of. Okay? So the more time you can do that, the better your physique is going to be. And that's just a fact, mate. All right? So don't waste time. We don't need to waste time. Okay? So let's just crack on with the goal. Let's adhere to the goal and let's be consistent with that goal. And let's not keep swapping goals. Let's actually stick to one or the other. Okay, buds? Hope that makes sense. All right. So that's pretty much everything, guys. I'm not going to do any more questions. That's 50 minutes. A long time. I wasn't expecting it to be this long. So if you've enjoyed this, please like it. Share it on your social media platforms. Tag me in it. And I'll look to keep these coming once a week. Cool, guys. Hope you've enjoyed. Like I said, any questions, let me know. And yeah, cool. Awesome. We'll speak very soon. Love you lots, guys. Have a good evening, day, night, whenever you watch this.